Welcome all to the Accounting Foundation class session 2. In this session we are going to discuss about what are the principles of accounting and basic terminologies used in accounting. First we'll discuss about accounting principles. Accounting principles are the set of rules, regulations or the guidelines to be followed by the companies while preparing the financial statement as well as publishing the financial data. Accounting principles can be classified into three categories, that are assumptions, concepts as well as convention. So these are the three classifications of accounting principles. First, accounting assumptions. Accounting assumptions consist of four principles, that are money measurement, business entity, accounting period as well as going concern. First one, business entity. According to this principle, the business is a separate entity and it should be differentiated from the owner. The owner is different, the business is different. Coming to the transactions also, the financial transactions of the business should be differentiated from the financial transactions of the owner. For example, when an owner commences the business with rupees 1 lakh and he is taking a 10,000 rupees for his personal use, so that 10,000 should be treated as a separate drawing or a separate personal use rather than clubbing it with the business transactions. Okay, likewise all transactions of the owner, it's different. All transactions of the business, from the point of view of business, it is different. Okay, that is what about business entity. Coming to the money measurement. Money measurement concept says that all those transactions which are recorded in the books of account should be capable of converting into monetary terms. In other words, only those transactions which can be expressed in monetary terms or in monetary units will be recorded in the books of account, and all other transactions should be ignored. This is what about money measurement. For example, when we are appointing a experienced chief executive officer to the organization, it is a valuable thing. It can contribute a lot to the profitability of the organization, but still they are not quantifiable in monetary terms, so we are avoiding such a transactions. Okay, that is what about money measurement. Coming to the accounting period. Accounting period is the time interval required to publish the financial statement by the companies, or in other words, it is the time interval or the time period required to complete the accounting cycle. For example, they may publish the financial statement monthly basis, quarterly basis or yearly basis, but generally all the companies will publish their financial statement in 1 year. The year may be a calendar year or an accounting year. Accounting or the financial year means April 1st to the March 31st. Calendar year means January 1st to December 31st. So according to the company's preference, they can adopt either fiscal year or they can adopt calendar year as accounting period, but generally it is 1 year. Then next one, it is going concern. When a businessman starts the business, he is in the view that it is going to run for a longer period. It is not going to close down in any near future. So according to this principle, the business run for a longer period. Next we'll discuss about what are the accounting concepts. Accounting concepts consist of dual aspect, revenue realization, matching principle, historical cost as well as objective evidence. First, dual aspect concept. According to this principle, for each and every transaction recorded, there are two aspects. One is credit aspect, next one it is credit aspect. So for single transaction there are two aspects. For example, when Raju purchased machinery worth rupees 50,000, he is purchasing the machinery for rupees 50,000. So it is a single transaction, but there are two aspects. One, he is getting the machinery, he is purchasing the machinery, at the same time he is paying the cash. Cash is going out of the organization, machinery is coming into the organization. This is what about dual aspects of a single transaction. Then next, it is revenue realization. So according to this principle, the company should record the revenue as and when it is earned, irrespective of whether they received the cash or not. So the revenue should be recorded at the point of sale. The matter whether they received or received the cash or not is not considering here. Next, historical cost. According to this principle, the value of fixed asset should be recorded at the original cost. What is the original cost? Original cost means the payment made at the time of purchasing the fixed asset. So all the fixed assets should be recorded in the financial statement as per the cost, historical cost or the original cost. We are not taking the market price. There will be variations in the market price. For example, if you have purchased a machinery for 50,000 in 2009, so the market price of that machinery in 2020, it is different, maybe 60,000, maybe 40,000. So that market price variations we are not taking in financial statements. Next principle, matching principle. According to this principle, it recognizes that the firm may incur some expenses for generating revenue. So while recording the expenses, the firm should ensure that the expenses are recorded in the same period, in the same year where the revenues are recorded, because these are the expenses incurred for generating the revenue. So while recording the expenses, the company should ensure that the expenses are recorded in the same period where the revenues, related revenues are recorded. This is what about matching principle. Then next one, objective evidence. So according to this principle, for each and every transactions recorded in the books of account should be supported by the verifiable evidence. So what is the verifiable evidence? For example, when we are making any cash sales, the cash receipts will be the evidence for the transaction. When we making credit sales, the invoices become the evidence. When making any bank payment, the check become the evidence. So likewise, you have to maintain the evidence for each and every transaction recorded in the books of account. This is all about accounting concepts. Next, we'll discuss about accounting conventions. Accounting conventions consist of consistency, conservatism, full disclosure and materiality. First one, consistency. Consistency principle says that the firm should adopt a consistent method of accounting without any changes. There should be a consistency in the accounting method used by the organization. That means once an organization chooses a particular method of accounting, it should be continued for the longer period of time. For example, an organization uses straight line method of depreciation for calculating depreciation, it should follow the same method of depreciation for the longer period of time without any changes. So it helps us to compare the present financial data with the past financial data. Next one, conservatism. Conservatism simply means playing safe. Here we are anticipating and recognizing all anticipated losses, but we are not taking anticipated gain. So here actually we are understating the net income and net assets rather than overstating. So this is what about playing safe and conservatism principle. Full disclosure principle. Full disclosure principle states that the organization should publish all relevant information to the public without hiding any information. So it ensures that the users of the financial information are not misled by any lack of information. All relevant information should be published to the users of the financial information. This is all about full disclosure. Then next one, materiality. Materiality concept says that in financial accounting there are some transactions which are recognized as too small and they will not have much more impact on the financial analysis by the external user. So in such a case we can avoid such a small and unimportant informations or unimportant transactions from the financial statement to make the financial statement crisp and consolidated. This is all about materiality. Only material information should be included in the financial statement published by the organization. So these are the different principles of accounting. Generally, principles of accounting are the set of rules or regulations to be followed by the accountant while preparing the financial statement as well as publishing the data. It can be classified into three categories: accounting assumptions, conventions and concepts. Accounting assumptions consist of business entity, money measurement, accounting period and going concern. Then accounting concepts, dual aspect concept, then revenue realization, historical cost, matching principle and objective evidence. Coming to the conventions, consistency, conservatism, full disclosure and materiality. So these are the different principles of accounting. Next topic, accounting terminologies. So these are the terms that were frequently used in accounting. First one, assets. Assets are the things that are owned by the organization. So these are the properties or the wealth accumulated by the organization as well as owned by the organization. Assets of the business organization can be classified into two categories. First one, current assets. Current assets are those assets that are converted into cash within 1 year of time. For example, the cash in hand, cash at bank, prepaid expenses, sundry debtors, bills receivables will comes under current assets of the firm. Coming to the next classification, fixed asset. Fixed asset are the long-term assets of the firm. So the benefit of such assets are enjoyed by the organization for more than 1 year. For example, furnitures, building, plant and machineries are the example for the fixed assets. Then coming to the next term, liabilities. So liabilities are the debt or the financial obligation incurred by the organization during the business operation. So simply these are the debt or the financial obligations of the firm. This is also classified into two categories, current liabilities and long-term liabilities. Current liabilities are those liabilities which are repayable within 1 year of time. Examples for the current liabilities include sundry creditors, bills payable or any outstanding expenses will comes under current liabilities of the firm. Coming to the long-term liabilities, so these are repayable during a longer period of time. Long-term liabilities include any mortgage loans provided by the bank or any other financial institution. Long-term loans, debentures are the long-term liabilities of the firm. Next term, capital. Capital is the amount of investment made by the owner, maybe in the form of cash, stock, assets or etc. So simply it is the amount of investment made by the owner in the business. Coming to the next one, drawings. So when the owner invests some amount of money in the business, sometimes he may withdraw some amount for the personal use from the capital. So the amount of money withdrawn by the owner for his personal use from the capital is called as drawings. Then next one, proprietor. Proprietor is the owner of the business. He is the owner of the business. Next one, expenses. So expenses are the payment or the disbursement made by the organization during business operations. So the main expense for the organization will be purchase of raw material or purchase of fixed asset, etc. So these are the expenses or the payment made by the organization. Then income. Income or revenue is the income generated by the organization during the business operation. So the main revenue, main source of revenue for the organization is the sale of goods and services. Sometimes the organization may receive revenue or income in other sources which include interest received, royalties received, fees received, etc. So simply revenue refers to the income generated by the organization with its business operations. So the main source of revenue is sale of goods and services. The next one, goods. Goods are the product that the organization dealt with. So the buying and selling of goods. So that goods is the product in which the business operates. The next one, purchases. So the term purchases uses when we are buying the goods from suppliers. So this is the term used for the goods bought from the suppliers. Next one, sales. It is the amount of goods and services sold to the customers by the organization. So sales refers to the goods and services sold by the organization to the customers. Then purchase returns. So this may happens in the ordinary course of business, because when you are purchasing the goods from the suppliers, sometimes it may not meet our expectation or specification. There will be some damages or defectiveness. So in such cases you will return the goods to the suppliers. So this is what about purchase return. That means when you are returning the goods due to any defectiveness or any other reason to the suppliers, it is called purchase returns. Coming to the next one, sales return. The same thing. When you are selling the goods to the customer, sometimes the customer return the goods to the organization due to the same reasons, maybe due to the defectiveness, damages or any other reason. So these are the goods returned by the customer to the organization. Next one, depreciation. So depreciation is a reduction in the monetary value of assets. So when you are using a particular fixed asset for the longer period of time, the value of fixed asset may diminishes due to the wear and tear, usage, obsolescence, etc. So the reduction in the value of fixed asset due to these reasons are called as depreciation. Next one, outstanding expenses. Outstanding expenses are those expenses which are in due but the payment is not yet made by the organization. An expense become outstanding expense when the service or the benefit is enjoyed by the organization but the payment is not yet made by the organization. For example, the outstanding salaries of employees. So the service rendered by the employees are enjoyed by the organization but the payment is still pending. This is called outstanding expenses. So the outstanding expenses of the organization should be treated as the current liabilities of the firm. Then prepaid expenses, just opposite to the outstanding expenses. These are the expenses which are made in advance before incurring it. So prepaid expenses is treated as the current assets of the firm. Coming to the next one, accrued income. Accrued income are those income which are earned by the organization but it is not received to the organization. So the party is not yet made the payment to the organization. So the income earned by the organization but not yet received by the organization is called accrued income. So accrued income should be treated as the current assets of the firm. Coming to the next one, income received in advance. So these are the income which are received in advance to the organization before delivering the goods or before delivering services to the party. So income received in advance should be treated as the current liability of the firm. Coming to the next one, debtors. So debtors are those parties or individual or any enterprise which owes money to the organization. They have to make payment to the organization. For example, when you are selling the goods on credit, the debtor will be customers of the organization because customers buys the product on credit. They have to make the payment in future. So the customers of the organization will become debtors of the organization. Then coming to the next one, creditors. Creditors are the parties, individual or any enterprise to whom the business owes money. The business has to make payment to the creditors in the future. For example, when the organization is purchasing goods from the suppliers on credit, the suppliers become the creditor of the organization. Not only the suppliers, the lender of loan. When the financial institutions provide the loan to the organization, that financial institution become the creditor of the organization. So these are the terms that we are frequently used in accounting, so that you should be familiar with it. First thing that you need to remember, outstanding expense as well as income received in advance. Outstanding expense and income received in advance. These two should be treated as the current liability of the firm. Then prepaid expenses and accrued income. These should be treated as the current assets of the firm. This is an important thing that you need to remember in accounting terminologies. So today we discussed about what are the principles of accounting and what are the frequently used accounting terminologies.